All right, so look, we're gonna get into Robert Kennedy on his conversation with somebody talking about Big Farm. Let's get into it.
No, if you, Mr. Kennedy, it's just a really simple question. You've taken in $2.5 million. I want to know if you will commit right.
By the way, Shorty on the right, she's for Big Farm, and Kennedy's not. Most Americans don't trust Big Pharma anyway, so I mean,
now that
just when you stand next to Trump, it kind of overshadows the person. It's like, oh, he's standing next to Trump.
Not only will you not go to work for drug companies, you won't go to work suing the drug companies and taking your rake out of that while you're a secretary and for 4 years after. It's just
I'll commit to not taking any fees from drug companies while I'm secretary.
No, I'm asking about fees from suing drug companies. Will you agree not to do that?
You're asking me to not sue drug companies,
no,
and I'm not going to agree to that.
Let's go! Why would you agree to sue a drug? Yo, we got scammed by Bovid. We got scammed by vaccines. Look at all the vaccines you probably take when you born and come into the world, and flu shots and this and that. Anybody who's defending Big Pharma, right? If you defended Big Pharma, what is the point in defending Big Pharma when you got a random dude uneducated from the hood that'll give somebody a diet plan? It might be a little extreme, and they done cured cancer and all type of other diseases. But y'all getting billions and billions and billions. Also, the Diabetes Association, they getting billions and billions from the early 1900s to now, and nobody ain't cured diabetes. Nobody ain't cured cancer when we know there's cures to these things. Yeah. Now, this is Robert Kennedy back in 2008, I believe. He been on the same time and he's on right now, basically trying to challenge all the bad food and how unhealthy America is. I'm not a Trump fan. I ain't vote for Trump. I'm just talking about his mans. Most Americans I talk to, or people that live in America, talk about how the food is bad, the chicken is bad. And if you actually from overseas, you have a better understanding of what it's like to have your chicken in your backyard and slaughtered and served fresh, and it was raised a certain way. So we can't complain about that. But then when Kennedy talk about it, it's kind of like this. And he been on the same time before Trump was even. You feel me? Let's check this out. It's from 2008.
EPA announced that in 19 states it is now unsafe to eat any freshwater fish caught in the state because of mercury contamination. The mercury's coming.
Why do you think we got to get our fish from Alaska and all that and all type of weird stuff?
Burning power plants. In 49 states, at least some of the fish are unsafe to eat. In fact, the only state where all of the fish are safe to eat is Dick Cheney's home state of Wyoming, where the Republican-controlled legislature has refused to appropriate the money to test the fish. We know a lot about mercury now. According to CDC, the mercury, there's 1 out of every 6 American women now has so much mercury in her womb that her children are at risk for a grim inventory of diseases: autism, blindness, mental retardation.
We didn't even know what autism was back in 2008, and this man going in on it. And everybody be saying, oh, autism's genetic. I'm not saying it's not, but also foods like the things like Roundup that they spray on the crops can alter your genetics, which will really just mean it's just the food. So before we even started saying autism was genetics, everybody was talking about, yeah, it's the food, it's the food, it's the food, it's the food. And I've also seen articles where scientists come out talking about it's actually the chemtrails that's falling onto the food. It's the food, it's the food. Now all of a sudden, oh, it's genetics, just because people want to get more autism aware and start saying it's genetics. It's the fucking food, bro. Like, yeah, okay, genetics plays a part too, but it's the food. It's the food you're eating before pregnancy. And it's the food you're eating during pregnancy. And it's the food that you will continue to feed your autistic children.
Retardation, heart, liver, and kidney disease. I have so much mercury in my body just from eating fish, 2.5 times what EPA is considered safe. I was told by Dr. David Carpenter, who's the principal authority on mercury toxicity in this country, that if a woman with my levels of mercury in her blood would have children with cognitive impairment, with permanent brain neurological injury. Today, according to CDC, there's 640,000 children born in this country every year who've been exposed to dangerous levels of mercury in their mother's wombs. The Clinton administration, recognizing the gravity of this national health epidemic, reclassified
Yes,
mercury.
mercury is a big deal. If you pregnant and you watching this, you need to figure out how to navigate mercury in your system while pregnant, which is hard. Cause if you got you some charcoal though, activated charcoal, that'll help get it out your system.
As a hazardous pollutant under the Clean Air Act, that triggered a requirement that all of those plants remove 90% of the mercury within 3.5 years. It would have cost them less than 1% of plant revenues, and we know that it works. When they stop emitting the mercury, it disappears within 5 years mostly from the fish and waterways downwind of those plants. But this is an industry that donated $156 million.
Yo, make sure y'all comment down below. Comment down below and give me y'all opinions on this, man. Make sure y'all subscribe as well.
To President Bush and his party since the 2000 election cycle, and they got their reward was leaders like Mr. Homestead here, who came in and eviscerated that rule and instead replaced a rule that was written by utility industry lobbyists, his own law firm, Lathan and Watkins, which allowed, which ended essentially the regulation, that tight regulation of mercury, and allows these utilities to continue to discharge mercury at huge rates for endless periods of time.
Bro, and this is 2008. This is 2008. Y'all probably was looking at him like the dude who said horses would become obsolete back in the 1800s in the future. Y'all looking at Robert Kennedy like they probably was looking at him back then like, what is he? I remember when I got seen an allergist when I was like 17. Even gluten allergies on that was still kind of like, what the hell is all that? Like, man, look, when it come to Big Pharma, bro, we know Big Pharma is a scam. We know it is. We know it is. We know it is. Big Pharma we been a scam, boy, and everybody know that. But when it's time for somebody to speak against it, I don't know, bro. What? Like, for y'all be giving Trump too much clout. Ignore Trump. We looking at somebody else.
Thousands of pages of statements, books, and podcast transcripts in a review of his record. The receipts show that Mr. Kennedy has embraced conspiracy theories, quacks, charlatans.
Of course, y'all gonna say it's a conspiracy theory when you got Dr. Sebi out here healing people with AIDS and cancer, and people like the Yaki dude healing people from cancer and diabetes and all type of stuff. These are uneducated people just giving you a meal plan, and it's actually working for a lot of people that listen to them. But y'all donating billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions to research that y'all already got the cure for. It's America. It's a corporation. Of course y'all gonna have the cure, but why would you do that when we can make more money off of treating you? If a random dude from the hood who don't know nothing about nothing could cure you of cancer and diabetes by telling you follow this meal plan and throwing you a couple of herbs, do you see what's happening? But you need $1 billion of cancer research? First off, most of the food in America gives you cancer. Of course he want his bag. He not gonna mess up his bag. He gotta say what he want to say. He not making no money off of saying you're not making no money off of trying to make people health conscious unless you're selling a product like most people do. That's health conscious. He's not making now. He's making bread off of donating money and having investments in these things. Look at Fauci. Y'all seen how Fauci did us.
Especially when it comes to the safety and efficacy of vaccines. He has made it his life's work to sow doubt and discourage parents from getting their kids life-saving vaccines. It has been lucrative for him and put him on the verge.
Nah, I'm sorry. We saw people dying off the vaccines. I'm just going to keep it a buck. Like, I even got scammed, and I've never let the government scam me. Yeah, it took both. It was not both. It had some nice marketing. I ain't going to lie. Both it had some lit marketing. But I took one joint, and then I waited almost a year to take the other one. I'm like, I'm going to let this joint kind of fall out. My system had kind of not really work before I take another one. I was like, after that, it was over with. And then I done detox from them joints anyway.
Of immense power. This is the profile of someone who chases money and influence wherever they lead, even if that may mean the tragic deaths. And thousands of pages of statements, books, and podcast transcripts in a review of his record. The receipts show that Mr. Kennedy has embraced conspiracy theories.
Yeah, bugging. Yeah, he was vexed. My son was vexed. So this, I don't know if this is Kennedy. This is his sister. This is Robert Kennedy's sister, right?
Jr. and his presidential campaign. I did not comment, not only because I was serving in a government position as United States Ambassador to Australia, but because I have never wanted to speak publicly about my family members and their challenges. We are a close generation of 28 cousins who have been through a lot together. We know how hard it's been, and we are always there for each other. But now that Bobby has been nominated by President Trump to be Secretary of Health and Human Services, a position that would put him in charge of the health of the American people, I feel an obligation to speak out.
Yo, it sound like she hating. All you got was a little job to be the ambassador of all racist ass Australia. Yeah, you sound like you hating, and you made money off of Farmer too. You definitely did. And you definitely would have been the type of person to get John F. Kennedy smoked.
Overseeing the FDA, the NIH, the CDC, and Centers for Medicare
You're overseeing
and Medicaid Services, agencies that are charged with protecting the most vulnerable among us, is an enormous responsibility.
We only vulnerable because of the bad food y'all giving us.
And one that Bobby is unqualified to fill.
So who died and made her qualified? Because if you was eating healthy and taking them herbs and all them vitamins, your face wouldn't look like this.
He lacks any relevant government,
Glasses is alright though, but I'm sorry, she don't make it look good though.
financial, management, or medical experience. His views on vaccines are dangerous and willfully misinformed. These facts alone should be disqualifying. But he has personal qualities related to this job, which for me pose even greater concern. I've known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets, because Bobby himself is a predator. He's always been charismatic, able to attract others through the strength of his personality, his willingness to take risks, and break the rules.
You see how white people would give you a backhand compliment? How you gonna say he charismatic but then diss him?
I watch his younger brothers and cousins follow him down the path of drug addiction. His basement, his garage, his dorm room.
Everybody be doing drugs. The damn person that fly the plane be doing drugs. I don't care if it's weed, and alcohol's a drug too, and all y'all folks know y'all be drinking.
Were always the center of the action, where drugs were available, and he enjoyed showing off.
Bro, I don't care if you do drugs in your spare time. Is there quality? That's some female shit right there. Only a female's gonna focus on how something is said and is it coming from a crackhead or not. Dudes normally is gonna focus on, was there quality in what you just said? Is there quality in what the Kennedy dude talking about? Clearly, and we know politicians be lying, but like I said, at least lie about the right stuff. The Democrats, if you was gonna lie, you should have told new lies, number one, because people got tired of the old ones. And you should have lied about something people was able to relate to. I said Trump is cracking jokes and talking about eggs. How's he gonna win? But people, when you really think about it, it's deeper than eggs. The everyday American is worried about the necessities, not the wants. Food, grocery, rent. Eggs is food. All of us can relate to food prices being high. We want certain things affordable. We all cannot relate to women's rights, and we're all not thinking of abortions, especially if you ain't in a situation where you need one. So, yeah, he may not be qualified, but it doesn't seem like Fauci was qualified. It doesn't seem like the FDA been qualified. It doesn't seem like all these people have been qualified before I was even in existence in America.
Off how he put baby chickens and mice in a blender to feed to his hawks. It was often a perverse scene of.
Don't hawks eat mice and chickens? You first, hold on. See, This is why I have a problem. It's almost like saying, I hate people who are like, oh, we shouldn't abuse animals. Oh, we shouldn't do this. He put birds and things in a thing and blended them up. If we really gonna talk absolute moral, let's talk real morals. If we're gonna use that, come to me when you've never owned a pet. If you own a pet, it's morally wrong to own a pet. It's because you're owning a pet. They're on a leash, whether they're not, they're owned. They should be in the wild and free. I don't care who you domesticated. They will devolve and re-evolve to be able to live in the wild if we allow them to. If you own a pet or know people that own a pet, you cannot say you're talking about mice and chickens being blended up because y'all eat chicken. We kill chicken. That's dumb. We kill chickens every day, all day. And people blend it up, blend they raw meat up, them fitness people and eat it. Man, y'all be talking to you got to talk to somebody who's not going to hit you with the technicals. I'm going to hit you with the technicals. If we're going to say that, then don't own pets. And then I'll be like, okay, you got it.
Despair and violence.
And then for you to come on hating on bro, it just look a little weird. You're dead in your bag. You're in your feelings. Look, she looks salty. She looks salty, boy. Look, salty. That's a salty. That's not a resting face. That's I'm salty. I'm not lit right now and I didn't get in.
That was a long time ago, and people can change. Through his own strength and the many second chances he was given by people who felt sorry for the boy who lost his father, Bobby was able to pull himself out of illness and disease. I admire the discipline that took and the continuing commitment it requires. But siblings and cousins who Bobby encouraged down the path of substance abuse suffered addiction, illness, and death, while Bobby has gone on to misrepresent, lie, and cheat his way through life. Today, while he may encourage a younger generation to attend AA meetings, Bobby is addicted to attention and power. Bobby preys on the desperation of parents of sick children, vaccinating his own kids while building a following hypocritically discouraging other parents from vaccinating theirs. Even before he fills this job, his constant denigration of our healthcare system and the conspiratorial half-truths he's told about vaccines, including in connection with Samoa's deadly 2019 outbreak of measles, have cost lives.
Yo, what is she chatting about, bro? She's not chatting about nothing. Robert Kennedy in the building. And guess what? Let's say he mess up. Y'all been experimenting on us forever, especially black folks. Let's not get into Tuskegee. Let's not get into Tuskegee. When y'all purposely gave them poor black folks syphilis. So even if he do mess up, what's new? What's new? I hate when people be talking as if like we ain't been dealing with the wrong people in the wrong positions. Like I feel like they just mad they're not in the position because they was gonna do wrong too, but they're just mad they're not the ones doing it. You salty. When people talk about health, I think it's good to listen. Do I really believe he's doing anything? No. But at least he's in the White House talking on his Dr. Sebi vibes.
And now we know that Bobby's crusade against vaccination has benefited him in other ways too. His ethics report makes clear that he will keep his financial stake in a lawsuit against an HPV vaccine. In other words, Bobby is willing to profit and enrich himself by denying access to a vaccine that can prevent.
Why do you want a vaccine? Why not just make the cure for HPV?
Almost all forms of cervical cancer, and has already been safely administered to millions of boys and girls. During my time in Australia, I worked on the Quad Cancer Initiative, and I learned that cervical cancer is among the top 3 forms of cancer among women in a majority of countries. Tragically, every year, more than 200,000 children lose their mothers. They are orphaned due to a lack of vaccines.
I ain't gonna lie, cervical cancer is pretty serious, but is you guys are making billions of dollars off of treating these things, and how if 200,000 people died from it, then what does that mean? most of the people can't even access the funds to even pay for the treatment. What?
And screening. Those are the real world consequences of Bobby's irresponsible beliefs. We are a close family, and none of that is easy to say. It also wasn't easy to remain silent last year when Bobby expropriated my father's image and distorted President Kennedy's legacy.
And I might have been calling him Bobby, but it's Robert. Who cares though? Y'all get what I mean, bro. I don't really know politics, but it's a vibe. We in the building.
Presidential campaign, and then grovel to Donald Trump for a job. Bobby continues to grandstand off my father's assassination and that of his own father. It's incomprehensible to me.
Nah, it's Robert. My bad. I had to do the research.
That someone who is willing to exploit their own painful family tragedies for publicity would be put in charge of America's life and death situations. Unlike Bobby, I try not to speak for my father, but I am certain that he and my Uncle Bobby, who gave their lives in public service to our country, and my Uncle Teddy, who devoted his long Senate career to the cause of improving health care, would be disgusted. The American healthcare system, for all its flaws, is the envy of the world. Its doctors and nurses, researchers, scientists, and caregivers are the most dedicated people I know. Every day they give their lives to heal and save others. They deserve a knowledgeable leader who is committed to evidence and excellence. They deserve a secretary committed to advancing cutting-edge medicine to save.
Man, you hating. You're hating. You're hating. And we're done with you now. Make sure y'all comment down below. Give me y'all opinion on this. What side you on? Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to like.